The night was heavy, the kind that presses against your chest and makes every shadow feel like a threat. I was in the kitchen, scrolling through a dead security feed, when the porch light flickered. 3 figures slipped into view on the camera's low, deliberate, moving like they'd rehearsed this. They weren't lost, weren't rushing. They belonged here, or so they thought. My wife, Sarah, stood barefoot in the hallway, her hand braced against the wall, eyes fixed on the floorboards as if she could feel the house holding its breath. Motion sensors are out, I muttered, watching the screen freeze again. They cut it, she whispered, her voice steady but sharp, like she'd been expecting this. That's when I saw them clearly. 3 men in tactical gear, vests, one clutching a clipboard like it was a weapon. Not cops, not military, just dangerous pretenders. I didn't hesitate. I yanked open the hallway cabinet and grabbed the shotgun, its weight familiar, grounding. Sarah's voice stopped me cold. Don't go out yet. Let him handle it. I knew who she meant. A metallic click echoed from upstairs, followed by the slow creak of the second stair. Grandpa Tom, a Vietnam vet with a memory longer than his arsenal, descended in a wool robe, belt half-tied, a revolver older than our neighbor's in one hand, reading glasses in the other. He slid them on, squinting at the front door. How many? He asked, voice gravelly. 3, Sarah said. Spread wide, stack formation. No insignia. Tom nodded, his eyes flicking to the clipboard guy on the feed. Clipboard's always trouble, he muttered. I positioned myself behind the window curtain, watching the men fan out across the lawn onwards. No knocking, just silent coordination. One adjusted his stance, another rolled his shoulder like he was prepping for a fight. They weren't amateurs, but they weren't pros either. That made them unpredictable, the worst kind. Tom unlocked the front door, leaving it closed, waiting. Then it came, 3 hard taps, even, deliberate. My jaw tightened. He cracked the door halfway, and the lead guy stepped forward tall, buzz cut, vest too shiny for real combat. Evening, he said, voice flat, fake calm. You're in violation of HOA Regulation 32C, subsection 4. Tom sized him up like he was inspecting a rusted tool. You're wearing your sidearm wrong, he said. The man blinked, caught off guard. Sarah appeared behind me, her voice low. Matt, don't shoot unless they touch the roses. I stepped onto the porch, boots hitting the wood hard. I'll ask once, I said, shotgun steady. Who sent you? The clipboard guy raised a patch, not a badge, just Velcro, no name, no agency. Security Enforcement, Oak Ridge HOA, he said. Here to document noncompliance. Tom's eyes narrowed. You woke 3 armed veterans at midnight over what? Another man spoke up. Exterior surveillance devices not approved by the board. Sarah laughed, sharp and bitter. You mean the cameras we put up after Linda reported a squirrel as suspicious activity? The lead guy didn't flinch. The board demands removal. Refusal escalates corrective measures. Tom stepped forward, slow, deliberate. Son, you know the difference between a suggestion and a threat? No answer. That's fine, he said, raising the revolver, not aiming, just letting it gleam under the porch light. I'll show you. The man's voice cracked, just a hair. Sir, we don't want escalation. Then go home, Tom said. A beat passed, then the third man moved, slow, deliberate. I caught a wire from his vest to his hip, military issue, encrypted frequency. He wasn't talking to the HOA. He was talking to someone else. I leaned into Tom's ear. They're not here for cameras. I know, he said. I circled the lead guy, voice low. You didn't knock to deliver a letter. You knocked to test us. You weren't expecting 3 armed people awake, were you? Silence. Sarah's voice cut through. You picked the wrong house. The lead guy hesitated, then doubled down. This is a compliance matter. You're obstructing a lawful directive. No, Tom said. You're trespassing, armed, at night, without a warrant. I leaned closer. If you or your goons breathe or my wife again, I won't call the HOA. I'll call the county, then my lawyer, then your boss's boss. The third guy tilted his head, like he heard something we didn't, and that's when I knew this wasn't about cameras or HOAs. This was a test, a first move in someone's playbook. We thought we'd found peace here, trees, quiet, coffee on the porch, neighbors far enough away to ignore a slightly tall lawn. Trouble used to be raccoons in the feed bins, Tom chasing them with a slingshot like it was a mission, Sarah filming, our friend Nate cheering like it was a cage fight. Nate showed up every Friday, rusty pickup, cooler of cheap beer, limping with that swagger he never explained. Retirement's a prison with a flower bed, he'd say, cracking a can, asking if we missed dodging bullets. Tom never answered. Sarah rolled her eyes. I just soaked it in, the calm that makes you forget to lock the gate. Then the first letter came, slipped under the door. No envelope. Sarah found it while brewing coffee. Mail from the Ministry of Nonsense, she joked. It cited our blue mailbox for violating community tone standards. I showed it to Tom. He snorted. Told you neutral means beige and boring. I pinned it to the fridge with a bullet-shaped magnet and ignored it. Then came letter 2. Unauthorized surveillance equipment. Signed by Linda Peterson, Oak Ridge HOA president. Sarah's smile faded. I met her once, she said. Complimented my boots, then asked if they were approved for yard work. That wasn't a question, it was a warning. Nate held the letter like it was radioactive. She's the type who sharpens pencils like daggers. I installed another camera. Big mistake. A few nights later, a silver SUV idled across the street. No lights, no plates. When I stepped outside, it sped off before I reached the curb. The third letter summoned us to a hearing. The room was sterile, fluorescent lights humming like a threat. Linda sat center, blouse ironed, hair pinned, clipboard a gavel. Mr. Daniels, your behavior disrupts neighborhood cohesion, she said. I raised an eyebrow. Because of a mailbox? Because of a pattern, she snapped. Sarah stiffened. Linda's eyes flicked to her, cataloging a flaw. This isn't personal. It's procedural. I leaned in. Lady, I've seen procedures. This is control in a polite suit. She tilted her head. Comply, or be corrected. That word corrected hit like a war drum. Sarah squeezed my hand under the table, and I felt it again. Not fear, not anger, readiness. Tom didn't come to the hearing, but the next morning, he was out painting the mailbox blue, bold as war paint. Then we found it, a small bird, nailed under the porch camera, perfectly centered. Sarah stared, then whispered, That's not a warning. That's a ritual. She was right. This wasn't a dispute, it was a declaration. Escalation isn't always loud. It's the sprinkler aimed wrong, the trash can moved overnight, the engine hum that stops when you look. Our mailbox's fresh blue paint was scraped, one clean line, like a knife cut. Not vandalism, just a message. Hope they used primer, Sarah muttered from the porch. I didn't answer. This was the marking territory. Nate slid a hard drive across the table an hour later. Cloud synced, triple backed up, audio so sharp it hears a mouse sneeze. We watched the feed, the SUV idling for 16 minutes, then gone. They're clocking us, Nate said. Garden times, trash times, Tom's walks. They're building a profile. That night, I swept the perimeter. The south fence was wiped clean of prints, but the soil showed compression-fast strides, wide base, gear weight. Not a jogger, not a neighbor. A scout. Sarah caught me rechecking the motion grid at 2 a.m. You're not sleeping, she said. Can't afford to. Neither can I, she admitted, voice cracking. I check every window twice, even in daylight. I faced her. I'll fix this. She kissed my forehead. Promise you won't become what you're fighting. I didn't answer because I was already losing that fight. Linda's visit came next, her perfume cloying, her smile earned. 2 men flanked her black polos, rigid, mirrored shades. Checking your progress, she said. Sarah met her on the porch, arms crossed. We're not changing the mailbox. We're not disabling cameras. Step on this porch uninvited again, and I'm calling the county. Linda's smile twitched. We're protecting community values. By stalking us and scratching our property? Sarah shot back. Linda didn't blink. You'd be surprised what people tolerate for security. Tom appeared behind the screen door, revolver visible in his holster, legal, licensed, loaded. Is this where you ask us to dig our own graves, or is that next week? Linda blinked. I beg your pardon. Don't beg, Tom said. Leave. She did, but the tall man lingered, locking eyes with me, his nod too familiar. Nate saw the clip later. Freeze it, he said. I zoomed in. Jawline, scar across the left brow. That's him, Nate whispered. Operation Nightfall. He wasn't supposed to be alive. My stomach dropped. Then why's he on Linda's lawn? Nate looked at me. This isn't about the HOA. It's cleanup. That night, I stood on the porch, stars above, a decade-old memory clawing back an explosion, a comms blackout, 3 names lost, and 1 man unaccounted for until now, standing on Linda's lawn. The weight wasn't gravity, it was behind my eyes, between my teeth. I didn't sleep, not from fear, but because I didn't trust what sleep might show. I cleaned my rifle on the kitchen table, silent, each part in its place. Sarah patted in, watching my hands. Still fits you, she said. Not about the rifle, about the routine. I'm trying not to go back, I said. Sometimes back comes for you, she replied. Nate arrived with a file folder, worn, heavy, from the old unit's archive. You didn't get it from me. Inside, heat maps, aerials, nightfall briefing notes. One page, half redacted, showed a name. A. Khalid. The op that went wrong, the man we thought bled out. They needed a scapegoat, Nate said. He lived. He flipped. Now he's outside your fence with a clipboard. Sarah caught me staring out the window. Talk to me, she said. I don't know how. Try. I turned. I gave an order that killed 2 men. Khalid was why. He fed us bad coordinates. We trusted him. I trusted the report that said he was dead. She was quiet. If he's not, they're using a ghost to clean up their mess. She held my hand, firm. I married a man who wanted peace, not a weapon with a mortgage. That broke me, a soft crack down the middle. Nate returned with blueprints and a trail camera swiped from the HOA's parked truck. They're mapping exit points, fence gaps. I checked the HOA map. Clause 8.3, 1 vote could seize our land for noncompliance. A slow knife. Sarah read it, tore it in half. If you keep staring at this, they win, she said, hands shaking. I didn't marry a bunker, Matt. That night, I woke in the yard, barefoot, shirtless, rifle in hand. Sarah stood on the porch, robe tight. I didn't call you, she said. You came out alone. She took the rifle, wrapped it in a towel. I want you back, Matt. The next morning, I walked the back trail and found it. A red stake, 6 inches tall, flag fluttering, etched with Sierra 11 Nightfall site designation, where we lost 3 men. They left it for me. This wasn't surveillance. It was personal. The smell hit first wires, oil, cordite. Nate stopped mid-joke. Sarah froze at the sink, and I sprinted to the hill. Tom's workshop was an orange inferno. Roof collapsed, a wall crumbling. Something hissed inside, probably the generator. Sarah screamed for Tom. He stood at the flame's edge, garden hose in hand, eyes locked forward. Back fence cut, he said, calm. Gates open. Came from the north. Nate slid in. 911 or drone strike. Both, I said. We didn't save the building, it was gone, but we contained it, spraying grass, shielding trees. Sarah ran buckets. Nate threw sand. Tom didn't move, like he was daring them to return. The fire crew arrived too late. Ash, melted tools, warped ammo casings, and a blackened U.S. flag in a scorched frame, awarded to me after nightfall. It survived deployments, an ambush, but not this. Sarah whispered, they're erasing you. Neighbors gathered, phones out. One muttered, told you he was unstable. Nate stepped forward. Filming? Want a better angle? Or should I knock you out now? The guy backed off. Linda didn't show, but a paper was taped to the charred mailbox, a military file, my name unredacted, red ink scrawled. We remember even if you forgot. The fire chief, young, nervous, said, undetermined cause unless we find proof. I held up the file. He walked away. Sarah pulled me aside. They're baiting you, breaking you. They already did, I said. She grabbed my shirt. No, you. They didn't show up with sirens or fanfare, just clipboards and subpoenas. Black SUVs rolled in, plainclothes feds with pins sharper than blades. Within hours of Sarah's file hitting the web, the system cracked. Linda was dragged from her HOA fortress in slippers, still clutching her clipboard, trying to issue citations as CNN filmed. Suburban warlord falls, the anchor said, clip hitting millions. By day 3, Dagger Point leaked into press briefings unconfirmed, whispered, the kind of secret that spooked other secrets. Matt Daniels, Asset 1137, survivor of a mission never acknowledged, now a living witness. Nate, stitched and scarred, crashed in our spare room, heckling game shows like they were war plans. One night, I brought him a beer. He toasted Jenkins, a name he never explained. Died before he got this tired, he said. We clinked. Sarah came home, a tiny scar on her hand, kitchen accident, she said, symbolic. She handed me my old coin. I didn't marry a bunker, she said, arms around me. You're not one anymore. Pause. You're still mine. Tom polished his double barrel every Sunday. When I asked if he'd retire it, he stared at the yard, then the sky. Loaded guns and quiet men outlast generals, he said, deadpan. And I like my porch. The feds dug deep. Dagger Point's roots ran deeper than expected. Some flipped, some vanished. Linda's trial flared, then faded, but I kept one clipping. Her face, defiant, panicked. HOA president indicted in espionage plot. Framed it. Next to our wedding photo. Balance. We planted a tree where the shed stood mall, tough. Nate named it Firecracker. We didn't ask. I check the porch now, not for trouble, for quiet. Sometimes a breeze feels too still, a crow lands wrong. But nothing's come back. Yet. Last week, an envelope arrived, no address. Inside, a Polaroid. Me, Sarah, Nate, Tom, laughing, shot from across the street. On the back, in my handwriting, one phrase, clean shot, ready when needed. I didn't panic, didn't load the guns. I smiled. They're watching, but they know this house, this family, doesn't fold. Send fake HOA cops, we'll send real ones. Send ghosts, we'll drag them into the light. Come for my home again? My double barrel's still loaded.